I, Alex, 28M, never thought I'd be in this situation. My life changed completely in just a few weeks, and I'm still trying to process everything. It all started with a phone call from Sarah, 32F, my ex-girlfriend Milo's, 27F, sister. Milo and I dated for 3 years before breaking up about 10 months ago. We met during our senior year of college at a mutual friend's birthday party. I remember being instantly drawn to her infectious laugh and the way her eyes lit up when she talked about her passion for marine biology. We hit it off immediately, bonding over our shared love of the ocean and terrible sci-fi movies. Our relationship was far from perfect, but it was good. We supported each other through the stress of final exams, job hunting, and the general uncertainty of post-college life. Milo got a job at the local aquarium, while I landed an entry-level position at a marketing firm. We moved in together after a year of dating, adopting a scruffy rescue dog named Baxter. Things were going well until I got a job offer in another state. It was a big step up in my career, with better pay and more opportunities for advancement. Milo had just started a research project at the aquarium that she was really excited about. We spent weeks agonizing over what to do, but in the end, we decided to break up. Neither of us wanted to do long distance, and we both felt like we needed to focus on our careers. It was a tough decision, but we both agreed it was for the best. The breakup was amicable, but still painful. We promised to stay friends, but as often happens, life got in the way. We kept in touch through occasional text messages and social media likes, but that was about it. I threw myself into my new job, trying to ignore the Milo-shaped hole in my life. Then came the call from Sarah. She told me Milo had been in a serious car accident and was in critical condition. I felt like the ground had dropped out from under me. Despite our breakup, I still cared deeply for Milo. I immediately booked a flight back to my hometown, my mind racing with memories and regrets. When I arrived at the hospital, I found out that Milo had been pregnant when the accident happened. She was 7 months along, and the doctors had to perform an emergency C-section to save the baby. Milo didn't make it through the surgery. I was completely overwhelmed. Not only had I lost someone I cared about, but I also found out I was a father. The baby, a little girl, was in the NICU fighting for her life. I couldn't wrap my head around it. Just days ago, my biggest worry was a presentation at work, and now I was a grieving father to a premature baby I hadn't even known existed. Sarah explained that Milo had planned to tell me about the pregnancy once I settled into my new job. She didn't want to complicate things for me or make me feel obligated to come back. I felt a mix of anger, sadness, and guilt. I wished I had known sooner that I could have been there for Milo during her pregnancy. I spent the next few days at the hospital, dividing my time between grieving for Milo and watching over my daughter. It was surreal to see this tiny baby, knowing she was mine, yet feeling like a complete stranger to her. I found myself talking to her through the incubator, telling her about Milo, about our relationship, about how sorry I was that I hadn't been there from the start. Milo's parents, Tom, 58M, and Linda, 55F, were supportive but also struggling with their own grief. I had always gotten along well with them during my relationship with Milo. They used to invite me over for Sunday dinners, and Tom taught me how to fix up old cars in his garage. Now, we were united in our loss and our concern for the baby. They told me they wanted me to be involved in the baby's life, but they also expressed their desire to be a big part of her upbringing. I understood their feelings. This baby was their last connection to their daughter. But I also felt a strong need to assert my role as her father. I'm torn about what to do next. My job is waiting for me back in the other state, but I can't imagine leaving my daughter now. I don't know the first thing about being a parent, let alone a single dad to a premature baby. The nurses in the NICU have been patient, teaching me how to change diapers through the incubator ports and explaining all the machines and monitors. But it all feels overwhelming. I'm also dealing with the guilt of not being there for Milo during her pregnancy and the fact that I wasn't there when she needed me most. Part of me wonders if things would have been different if we had stayed together. Would we have been excited, expectant parents instead of this tragedy? These thoughts keep me up at night as I sit by the incubator, watching my daughter's tiny chest rise and fall. My parents, Jack, 60M, and Ellen, 58F, flew in to support me. They're trying to help, but I can see they're also struggling to come to terms with suddenly being grandparents. My mom keeps bursting into tears every time she looks at the baby, a mix of joy and sorrow. Dad's been more stoic, but I can see the worry in his eyes. I've taken a leave of absence from work, but I know I'll need to make some big decisions soon. Should I move back to my hometown? How do I balance my career with being a single parent? How do I co-parent with Milo's family when we're all still grieving? I find myself thinking back to my childhood, trying to remember how my parents handled things. I remember my dad working long hours but always making time for weekend fishing trips. My mom was always there, a constant presence with her terrible jokes and comforting hugs. Can I be both mom and dad to this little girl? I'm scared, overwhelmed, and completely unprepared for this. Any advice or words of wisdom from people who have been in similar situations would be greatly appreciated. How do I navigate this new reality while honoring Milo's memory and being the best father I can be to our daughter? There's so much to figure out, From practical things like where we'll live and how I'll manage financially, to bigger questions about how to raise her and what to tell her about her mother when she's older. I want to do right by Milo, by our daughter, and by both our families. But right now, it all feels impossibly complicated. As I sit here in the hospital, watching my daughter sleep in her incubator, I'm struck by how tiny and fragile she looks. Yet she's already shown such strength, fighting to survive against the odds. I hope I can find even a fraction of that strength to face the challenges ahead. Update 1. It's been about 2 months since my last post, and a lot has happened. I want to thank everyone for their kind words and advice. It really helped me during those first difficult weeks. My daughter, who I named Lily, is finally out of the NICU. It was a tough journey, but she's a fighter. Watching her grow stronger each day gave me strength too. The first time I got to hold her properly, without all the tubes and wires, was one of the most emotional moments of my life. I remember the nurses showing me how to support her head and telling me to do skin-to-skin contact. As I held her against my chest, feeling her tiny breaths, I felt a rush of love and protectiveness I'd never experienced before. I decided to move back to my hometown permanently. It wasn't an easy decision, but I knew it was the right one for Lily and me. Leaving my job and the life I'd started to build in the new city was tough, but holding Lily made it all seem insignificant in comparison. My boss was understanding and allowed me to work remotely, which was a huge relief. I'm grateful for the flexibility, even though I know it might impact my career progression. Milo's parents, Tom and Linda, have been incredibly supportive. We've had some difficult conversations about co-parenting and boundaries, but we're all trying our best to put Lily's needs first. They've been a great help in teaching me the basics of baby care, and I'm grateful for their patience. Linda showed me how to make bottles and do laundry. I never knew babies needed so many clothes, while Tom has been a whiz at assembling all the baby furniture. There have been moments of tension, like when we disagreed about whose family traditions to follow for Lily's naming ceremony. But we're learning to communicate and compromise. We all want what's best for Lily, and that common goal helps us work through our differences. I moved into a small apartment near them, which allows us to share responsibilities. It's not always easy, there are times when our grief and stress lead to tension, but we're learning to communicate better. The apartment feels both too empty and too full at the same time. Empty because Milo should be here with us, but full of baby things, diapers, bottles, toys, and all the paraphernalia that comes with a newborn. My parents have been amazing too. Mom stayed for a few weeks to help me settle in, and Dad visits as often as he can. They're absolutely smitten with Lily. Mom's been knitting up a storm. I think Lily has more handmade blankets and booties than she could ever use. Dad's been quieter, but I often find him just watching Lily sleep with a soft smile on his face. Adjusting to life as a single dad has been challenging. The sleepless nights, the constant worry, the feeling of being overwhelmed, it's all very real. There have been nights when Lily wouldn't stop crying, and I felt completely out of my depth. I found myself wishing desperately for Milo, knowing she would have known exactly what to do. But there are also moments of pure joy, like when Lily grabs my finger or gives me a toothless smile. I've been going through Milo's things with Sarah. It's bittersweet, but it's helping me process my grief. We found a journal where Milo had been writing letters to our baby. Reading them has been both heartbreaking and comforting. It's given me insight into her thoughts and feelings during the pregnancy. One entry particularly struck me. Milo wrote about her plans to tell me about the baby, how she was excited but nervous about my reaction. She mentioned wanting to wait until after my big presentation at work, not wanting to distract me. It made me realize how much she cared, even after our breakup. Reading her words, I could almost hear her voice, and it brought back a flood of memories, both happy and sad. I'm still figuring out how to balance work and parenting. Some days I feel like I'm failing at both, but I'm trying to be patient with myself. I've joined a single parent support group, which has been helpful. It's comforting to know I'm not alone in this journey. Listening to other parents share their experiences has given me new perspectives and ideas. There are moments when the weight of everything hits me hard. The other day, I was changing Lily's diaper and suddenly burst into tears, thinking about how Milo will never get to do this simple task. But then Lily cooed at me, and I knew I had to pull myself together for her. It's a strange mix of grief and joy that I'm learning to navigate. I'm taking it one day at a time, trying to create a stable and loving environment for Lily. It's not the life I had planned, but I'm determined to make the best of it for both of us. Each day brings new challenges, but also new rewards. Watching Lily grow and develop her own personality is amazing, even if it's tinged with sadness that Milo isn't here to see it too. Update 2. It's been 6 months since my last update, and life has settled into a new kind of normal. Lily is now 8 months old and growing like a weed. She's started crawling, which means I spend most of my time chasing after her and baby-proofing everything in sight. It's exhausting but also exciting to see her explore her world with such curiosity. Co-parenting with Tom and Linda has gotten easier. We've fallen into a routine that works for all of us. They watch Lily 3 days a week while I work, and I have her the rest of the time. Weekends are usually family time, with all of us together. We've started having Sunday dinners again, just like when Milo and I were dating. It's bittersweet, but it feels good to keep that tradition alive for Lily. There have been some challenges. Last month, we had a disagreement about Lily's first Christmas. Tom and Linda wanted to recreate some of Milo's childhood traditions, while I wanted to start some new ones of our own. It led to a heated discussion, but we eventually compromised. We're all learning that it's okay to honor Milo's memory while also creating our own family dynamic. We ended up blending old traditions with new ones, and it turned out to be a beautiful holiday, even if it was tinged with sadness. Work has been understanding, but I can tell they're getting antsy about me returning to the office full time. I'm not ready for that yet, and it's causing some tension. I might need to start looking for a new job that offers more flexibility for single parents. It's a daunting prospect, but I know I need to prioritize what's best for Lily and me. I've started dating again, which feels strange and a bit guilt-inducing. Sarah set me up with her friend Emma, 29F. We've been on a few dates, and she's great with Lily. But I'm taking things very slowly. Balancing dating with single parenthood is tricky, and I want to make sure Lily always comes first. Emma seems to understand, which I appreciate. Still, there's a part of me that feels like I'm betraying Milo's memory, even though I know she would have wanted me to be happy. Milo's birthday was last week, which was tough for all of us. We had a small gathering at her favorite park, released some biodegradable lanterns, and shared our favorite memories of her. It was a bittersweet day, but it felt good to celebrate her life. I told Lily stories about her mom, even though she's too young to understand. I want her to grow up knowing how amazing Milo was. Lily is starting to look more like Milo every day, especially her smile. It's both heartwarming and heartbreaking. I've been putting together a memory book for Lily, filled with photos and stories about Milo. I want her to know how amazing her mother was. Tom and Linda have been helping with this, sharing stories and photos from Milo's childhood. It's been a healing process for all of us. I'm still learning and growing as a parent every day. There are moments of frustration and exhaustion, but also moments of pure joy and love. Watching Lily discover the world around her is incredible, and I'm so grateful to be on this journey with her. Yesterday, she laughed for the first time when I made a silly face, and it was the best sound I've ever heard. Update 3, another 6 months have passed, and Lily just celebrated her first birthday. It's hard to believe how quickly time has flown by. The tiny baby in the NICU has grown into a curious, energetic toddler who keeps me on my toes. The birthday party was a bittersweet affair. We had a small gathering with family and close friends. Tom and Linda brought a photo of Milo to put on the table, which was a touching gesture. Lily seemed to enjoy the attention, though she was more interested in the wrapping paper than the actual gifts. As I watched her smash her hands into her birthday cake, I couldn't help but think of all the milestones Milo has missed. I've finally found a new job that allows me to work from home most of the time. It's been a game changer for our routine. I'm able to be more present for Lily while still advancing my career. The transition was stressful, but it's already paying off in terms of work-life balance. Co-parenting with Tom and Linda has its ups and downs. We recently had a disagreement about Lily's daycare options. They wanted her to attend the same preschool Milo did, but I found a place closer to our home that I preferred. After some tense discussions, we agreed to tour both places together and make a decision as a team. It's not always easy, but we're getting better at communicating and compromising. My relationship with Emma has progressed slowly but steadily. She's patient and understanding about my situation. Lily seems to like her, which is a relief. We're taking things one day at a time, but I'm cautiously optimistic about our future. Emma has been great about respecting Milo's place in our lives, which means a lot to me. Lily said her first word last month, Dada. It was an incredibly emotional moment for me. She's also taken her first steps, which means our apartment is now even more of an obstacle course. Each new milestone is exciting but also bittersweet, knowing that Milo isn't here to share in these moments. I still have days where grief hits me hard, especially when Lily reaches new milestones. I find myself wishing Milo could be here to see them. But I'm learning to balance honoring her memory with moving forward. Tom and Linda have been a great support in this, sharing stories about Milo with Lily and helping me keep her memory alive. Looking back on the past year and a half, I'm amazed at how much has changed. It hasn't been easy, but I'm proud of how far Lily and I have come. We're building a life together, surrounded by love and support. It's not the life I had planned, but it's beautiful in its own way. Lily's personality is really starting to shine through. She's got Milo's determination and my sense of humor. The other day, she spent a solid hour trying to stack blocks higher than herself, falling over and getting right back up each time. When she finally managed it, her triumphant giggle filled the room. It's moments like these that make all the challenges worth it. I've been talking to Lily about Milo more and more. Even though she's too young to understand, I want her to grow up hearing about her mom. I tell her stories about how Milo and I met, about Milo's love for the ocean, and how excited she was to become a mom. Tom and Linda have been great about sharing their own stories and photos too. My relationship with Tom and Linda continues to evolve. We've had our share of disagreements, but we're learning to work together better. Last week, we all went to the aquarium together. It was one of Milo's favorite places. Watching Lily's eyes light up at the colorful fish, I could almost feel Milo's presence with us. As for me, I'm slowly finding my footing as a single dad. There are still days when I feel overwhelmed, but they're becoming less frequent. I've learned to ask for help when I need it, whether it's from family, friends, or my support group. I'm even thinking about starting a blog to share my experiences and connect with other single parents. Emma and I are still taking things slow, but our relationship is growing stronger. She's been incredibly patient and understanding. She's not trying to replace Milo, she knows that's not possible or desirable. Instead, she's carving out her own place in our lives. Seeing her play with Lily or help with bedtime routines feels right, even if it took some getting used to. Work is going well with the new job. The flexibility has been a lifesaver, allowing me to be there for Lily's doctor appointments and milestones without sacrificing my career. It's a juggling act, but I'm getting better at it every day. As I look towards the future, I'm filled with a mix of emotions. There's still sadness for what we've lost, but also hope for what's to come. I'm excited to watch Lily grow and discover her passions. I'm looking forward to teaching her to swim, to read, to ride a bike, all the things Milo and I once dreamed of doing together. I know there will be challenges ahead. There will be questions about Milo that I'm not sure how to answer, milestones that will be bittersweet, and moments when I'll feel out of my depth. But I also know that we have a strong support system and that Milo's love continues to guide us. To anyone out there facing unexpected parenthood or loss, I want to say, it does get easier. Not perfect, but easier. Take it one day at a time, allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling, and don't be afraid to lean on others for support. Lily is napping now, and as I write this, I'm looking at a photo of Milo on our bookshelf. I hope she'd be proud of how we're doing. I'm trying my best to be the father she knew I could be, and to make sure Lily grows up knowing how much she was loved, even before she was born. It's not the life we planned, but it's a life full of love, and that's what matters most.